Good morning. Good morning. It's Charmaine Ham, and I'm so excited to welcome you all today to the Building Global Influence Masterclass series. Today we have an awesome guest, Laura Rubinstein. And before I even introduce her, I just want to tell you all that Laura is the reason why I now have a LinkedIn profile that actually gets me business. She is exquisite at social media, and I kind of, whatever Laura does and teaches, I just follow because it works. So Laura, thank you so much for how you helped me with my LinkedIn profile. I get speaking opportunities from it now.
Awesome. Absolutely
Yeah.
great.
I'm going to put my glasses on so I can actually read Laura's bio. I don't want to miss a thing. Laura Rubinstein is an award-winning social media and marketing strategist, and she is also the author of a best-selling book called Social Media Myths Busted, The Small Business Guide to Online Revenue. Laura is also the co-founder of the Social Buzz Club, and her mission is helping business owners, thought leaders, and coaches with an overwhelming to-do list. Oh my gosh, that sounds like my life. And guides them to actually thrive using social media strategies and time-saving systems. She has optimized marketing plans, this is incredible, for over 1,000 businesses. Woo! Her profit-generating strategies and popular blog at transformtoday.com make her a highly sought after speaker and consultant. And, I met Laura Rubinstein through the Evolutionary Business Council. You've heard Teresa de Grosbois, who is partnering with me on the webinar, on the masterclass series. We've interviewed Teresa before, and that's where I first met Laura. And when I watched what Laura was doing, you learn a lot about people and their strengths by watching what they do. So I kind of stalked you for a while, Laura, on social media.
Oh, that's funny.
And learned what you were doing. And what struck me as so valuable is how you actually engage your following. You were exquisite at pulling people into a conversation, inviting people to share perspectives, and then having their messages go out around the world, for example, through Social Buzz Club. So I love what you do, and I know this is going to be a content-rich hour that we've got together today.
Awesome.
All right, so Laura, I'm going to get you to tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then I've got a couple questions for you from there.
Okay. Well, I am super excited about being here with you, Charmaine, because we have you are like the epitome of someone who can take social media and run with it when you know what you're doing, right? So I come from a background of relationship-based marketing strategies. So what does that mean? That means that before the internet, before social media really on the internet, I was coaching financial advisors and small business owners, and the only strategies that really work for those smaller businesses are relationship based, because the other traditional media was really out of reach budget wise, and it didn't make sense. It's just weird when you see a commercial for a real estate agent on TV. It's just weird, right? You want to be referred out. You want to how do you find your professionals, right? That you know somebody who knows somebody, you heard about them. And now with the internet, oh my gosh, yes, you could see their website and everything. Does it draw you in? Do they want to build a relationship with you? Will they take a phone call from you? You can start that relationship so much faster and easier. So when social media came on the scene, I just like took to it like, white on rice, as they say. So that's a little bit about my philosophy, and I'll show my screen. I have some slides I'm going to go through. I know you have some other questions
I
too.
do. And actually, there's a comment here. Tracy is saying, I love Laura with exclamation marks. Good morning, Tracy.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for kicking that off, Tracy. If anyone has questions throughout the time we have with Laura, please type them in the chat box. I might interrupt you from time to time, Laura, when a question comes in and it's right where we need to be in our conversation. Let us know where you're from. Tracy, where are you listening from? And everybody else that's joining us, where are you from today? How's the weather? And any questions you've got for Laura. Now, Laura, I wanted to start us off by actually talking a little bit more about your personal philosophy on social media, and then we'll talk about how people can actually build their business and their brand through social media.
Oh, what a good idea. Oh, here, I got the perfect slide. I'm going to show you guys
Okay.
from my, here we go. Ta-da! I love Albert Einstein. I don't know about you, but he has this one quote: try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value. That's really my philosophy on social media. It's if you are building that relationship, like I talked about, number one, like that's like duh. And by giving value is the golden key. You do that, you're golden. You'll be fine on social media. You don't have to worry about anything else. A lot of people resist social media, and that's why I wrote the book, Social Media Myths Busted. Why? Because, and here's a picture of the book right in the middle, um,
Woohoo!
because too many people are coming up to me and they're focusing on the wrong thing. They're like, I don't want to, you know, eliminate my privacy. I'm like, well, don't put anything private online. Done. Boom. Your problem solved, right? It's like,
Exactly.
it's so noisy. I feel like I have to answer anything. No, you don't. You answer, do you watch every show on TV? No. It's like they're making up stuff to resist it. And that's why I wrote the book, because it's really what it is. It's a great way to build relationships. It's a great way to use the internet for spreading good energy, creating more positive news in the world, sharing the positive news, being inspired, get inspired, right? So if you start looking at social media as like, how can I be inspired? How can I use it to inspire? How can I add value? How can I use it for the good of the greater good in my life and in society as a whole? Then you've got social media by the bullhorn, and you can really fly with it.
Yes. We've got
That's
some people telling us where they're from, and I'll tell you, Laura, it's a lot colder where Alicia is today. Alicia's in Calgary, -8. We have
oh.
Denise.
Ooh.
Denise says, oh, it's a beautiful day in Southern California. Denise is rubbing it in. We have Tracy from Vancouver who's saying it's rainy. Hi, Liberty from Calgary. And then we have Rosemary who says good morning. Or hi, Laura and Charmaine. Rosemary from Calgary here. Super excited. That's a big letter. Super excited to learn about launching my own show as well. Laura is a real exquisite host, and one of the things I love about Laura is she's going to be talking a lot about that as well in San Diego at the event. And I know, Rosemary, I think you're coming, so you're going to hear about that as well. And Rosemary saying it's great idea, positive, inspiring news. It is a great idea. I love that. And what you've taught me, Laura, is that as we go online and share positive, inspiring news, when we share our content, people start rippling that out. And I really think that we have the ability to change the world if we all start posting and resharing and commenting on the good news things that are happening. I mean, that creates a lot of energy. Liberty saying, can't wait to see you in San Diego. Woohoo! And Rosemary says, yes, here I come. Donna is from San Diego area. Hello, everyone. Good morning. And M says, Marilyn from cold, crisp Michigan. Oh, sorry. Hi. So, Laura, one of the things that you talked about just a minute ago about when we're putting that content out there and sharing it, it reminds me, you and I both have a dear friend, a mutual friend, Sean Duperrin, who actually we're doing a webinar with after Laura's webinar. It's a powerhouse day today. And Sean talks about that cycle of reciprocity. And how important is that cycle of reciprocity in the work that you're doing with social media? Because I'm getting that it's pretty critical.
Well, it's a natural thing that we do in relationship, right? It's like when somebody gives you something, um, you want to give back, right? So it's natural. Yes, it's critical in business. And the first rule of networking, in my opinion, is give first. Just give without expectation, right? That's the true definition of giving, of receiving back, trusting that law of reciprocity, that whatever you put out does come back to you. And so it's critical in social media. I can't tell you, that's why I wanted you all to do what's inspiring to you on social media. Share something inspiring, write something inspiring, share somebody else's something that's inspiring, right? Spread that positive energy, because it's going to come back to you. And set yourself up, of course, properly on these networks. Like, when we had our conversation, we talked about LinkedIn, which is really powerful for exactly what's happening for you now, is getting speaking engagements. Also, what we're going to talk about in a little bit is video and leveraging that. How do you do that properly? But the law of reciprocity comes into play, 100%. Oh, you went mute.
Awesome. There, I just didn't want to have me rattling around here. Now, we did have a comment. Somebody said they could only see my face and they weren't able to play the webinar. Can I just get some of you, are you seeing Laura and I kind of go back and forth, and is everybody else seeing it? I just want to do a check-in. So if you can type in the chat box, that way I know what's going on. And in the meantime, I'll just wait for a couple of responses here. Thanks, everyone.
And there is a slight delay in when you talk and when they're hearing you.
Yes, it's sort of like that whole you're
pre-playing.
Okay, we got some comments flying in. All is good. I am seeing both of you. Yes, back and forth. Things are good. Back and forth. Things are fine. All there. Okay, great. I'm glad it's working. Now, Laura, we're going to dive in deep here now. Really, I want to talk about, we're talking about how we build global influence, and social media is just such a strong foundation of that. You're a great example of how your brand and businesses around the world, where you have people sharing your content, where you have people in your own circle actually sharing out the messages of other people. How do we, through social media, really build our business and build our brand?
Well, you hit on it there, and getting it's one thing to share a lot of your own content, but it's another thing to have other people share your content. And that's kind of what you're saying is what we've done with Social Buzz Club. Is we love people who have incredible things to give to amplify their influence. So you first want to build your brand, right, and your business on social media properly. So I'm going to go through some of the mindset and some of the things you want to make sure you're doing to build your brand and your business. First of all, you want to define that why. Why are you there? What's your objective on social media? If it's just to make money, I'm going to tell you, we got to rethink this, okay? Because when the marketer moves in, the members move out. So whoops, you thought you could just sell. Come to social media and sell. Wrong answer. That's an internet marketer who spends a lot of money on advertising, and they get a lot of sales by doing certain techniques. But if you're wanting to build your brand and cause awareness and your business, you've got to build your email list. You've got to deliver customer service. You've got to be doing certain things right. And you can use social media to do that, to enhance your reputation and make strategic connections who might lead to what? More business over time. But first you focus on the staying present, giving, as we talked about, but you can also do a lot of market research. You can position yourself as an industry leader by what you're giving and ultimately become the go-to expert. You can be someone who is known to educate people on the right ways to do things or to achieve certain goals. You can get clients from social media, but if you make that your first and only goal, like I remember seeing, you'll laugh at this one. I'm going to come back on screen to tell you it, but I remember seeing an insurance agent or a financial advisor come online. Hey, if anybody needs a 401k, call me. That's kind of like a commercial. That's not building a relationship with people. We want to avoid that, right? And we want you to say, hey, did you know that there's a new tax law coming out? If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. Or here's my article on it, So there's all kinds of ways to position yourself as help, not hype. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But you have to know, this is the next key. I'm going fast because I want to give you all really big nuggets here. Know who your audience is. Who are they? Are they what age? Do they have kids? What are their biggest problems in life? What is their income streams like? What do they do with their discretionary income? We call this creating a buyer persona. Why? Because your buyers have different needs. What are their needs? You need to know their challenges and desires. You then need to know where they hang out on social media. Charmaine, if you knew those two things, what could you do with that information?
I'm really glad you're bringing up knowing who your audience is. I was having a conversation a few weeks ago with somebody and I said, who is your audience? Because I really saw a good fit where this individual and I could perhaps collaborate or at least share out some information that both her and I put out to our followings, because there was a really good connect and she's doing some things that I don't do, and I really like how she positions herself. And when I asked her, who is your audience, response was everyone. And I said, well, who's everyone? And so I know Laura's going, how do you market to everyone? And so I was trying to look at, would I put her content out to the people who follow me that are authors, speakers, entrepreneurs? Would I put this out to my corporate audience? Because it's a completely different message. And she was really struggling to get beyond everyone. She was really convinced, Laura, that everyone is her target audience. And how do you go from everyone to narrowing that down a bit?
I like to change the paradigm with my clients who are like, oh, well, I have a food product, so everyone eats, so everyone's my market, right?
Right.
Like, no, they're not. Who eat, like even Oreos, think about Oreos. Who's their market? Kids between a certain age, in fact. Okay. Does that mean adults don't eat Oreos? No. What it means is they target their marketing to the richest niche, the most influential niche that's going to get their product sold. Even though those kids don't earn any money, they have the hot button to their parents, right? So I'm not seeing on the TV programs that I'm watching Oreo cookie commercials. I'm seeing others, but the kids are seeing it, right? And then they want it, and then they influence the buyer. So either they're the buyer or the influencers of the buyer. So it doesn't mean, though, because you focus on a niche, that you're not selling to that niche. You're focusing your marketing time and dollars on that richest niche. And so you don't have to give up anything. You just have to focus in on certain efforts. And if you want to focus on a second niche later on, that's fine. Or a third niche, that's fine. But, you will receive more abundance by focusing in on a niche you can really help, and you're really passionate about helping, and really your product really speaks to.
Yes.
So that'll help, I hope.
Well, and it reminds, when I was interviewing Natalie Ledwell, who is also one of the speakers at the Global Influence Summit. Laura is one of our speakers at the Global Influence Summit in San Diego. Natalie was talking about when she started in the whole internet marketing and going from not knowing anything about the internet, which is what she shared on her webinar, to learning how to get her mind movies out there to millions of people. She said what she had to look at doing, and I think it just so fits what you're saying, Laura. She had to actually look at one strategy, one platform that she understood inside and out and could really make it work for her, and then move to other platforms. And I think that's, I am certainly a person who struggled with that when I started going on YouTube and Pinterest and Twitter and everything. I was trying to be all places and be all things to all people, and it was exhausting.
Yes.
And I think it created way too much work. And then I realized, my corporate audience is not on Pinterest and Instagram. They're on LinkedIn, for example, which is why I went to you and said, help.
Yeah. So you're hitting on something very important here. You got to choose the right networks and start somewhere. These are the most popular ones: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google+, Instagram, Yelp. By the way, this orange thing everybody knows is the RSS feed. It stands for your blog. Okay. You don't want to rely just on these networks. You want to drive people home, what I call, to your website. And a great way to provide value on your website is to provide blog posts with links to interesting articles, with interesting articles on them. So you can put the links from all of these. Also, if you're a member of Social Buzz Club, of course, you share links to your blog post, and then you drive more traffic because people are sharing them out on these networks. So, and if you do have a local storefront, of course, consider the local listings, like Yelp and Kudzu, Merchant Circle. There's like hundreds of them. There's even services of people who put you up on all of these different listing services. So it's a huge, important part of marketing to know where to put your time and effort. And if it's limited, then you definitely want to choose wisely. And then, of course, as we said, behave like a friend, not a marketer on social media. So what does that mean? I want to get back to something I said earlier, which comes from my dear colleague, Jay Baer. He talks about this. This is his book, Utility. And I loved the subtitle. If you can see it, it's Why Smart Marketing is About Help, Not Hype. And what he says is content is fire. So you have this wonderful, amazing content that can do so many things for you. It could solve any problem you want. And you put it out on social media. It's like the gasoline that ignites it.
Love that.
You want to make your marketing so useful that people would pay for it. And that brings me to something that Frank Kern has said, which is give your best stuff away free.
Yeah.
That sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Have the abundance mentality and use that to, create a well-crafted lead generation system so that you're collecting. One of the best things you can do on social media is collect user names and email addresses of interested people in your topic and your work. Okay. One of the greatest ways I'm going to talk a lot more about at the summit is using video to do that.
Love that.
Okay, and if you're not creating video content, and notice I have here different logos, and we've got this, for those of you who don't know, is Blab in the upper right. We've got Google Plus, and Google Hangouts on Air is this little quotation in the bubble, and all these three are tied to YouTube, which is very powerful, and so is Blab. There's also Periscope, and there's tons of others. Facebook is launching live. It's called Facebook Live, and that's going to be huge. It might be even, some people are calling it a Periscope killer. We'll see. But it's that live streaming. Live streaming is in. People are doing it. Also, if you're not using or creating video, you are missing out on mobile traffic.
Wow,
and
lots of
website
it
traffic.
by the looks of that slide, missing out on lots of it.
Yeah. And, online video accounts for 50% of all mobile traffic. People are using their mobile devices more and more, and that doesn't only include your cell phone, it's like the iPads and all that. So you want to be able to capture those eyeballs. They need your services too. By the way, you'll be interested in this one. By 2017, 74% of all internet traffic will be video.
Wow.
By the way, 2017 is next year.
Yes, I was just going to say we're already in 2016. Laura, let's check in with everybody here about video. I am really curious with that statistic. You have just created a whole new business plan that I need to get working at right now, 74%. So for all of you that are with us today, let us know if you're using video. Dean, just type it in the chat box. Are you using video? How are you using video? Are you doing things like Laura and I are doing today with a webinar jam, which of course produces this video and uploads it right onto YouTube? Laura, you use video. I think more than anyone I know. You're producing videos every single day through your company, for other people, for your clients. So while people are typing in if they're using video and how you're using it, tell us how you're using video.
So I use video in all kinds of ways. And like today, what you're doing with this summit preview and master classes is kind of a TV show. You've got several episodes planned, right?
Right.
And you're promoting it through social media, and you're having the speakers promote it. And that's powerful. You're building your list. You're getting visibility for the summit. You're getting visibility for the speakers. It's a win-win-win all around. Talk about that reciprocity factor, right? Right there. 100%. So every week or every other week, pretty much for Social Buzz Club, I produce a webinar as well, and that's our show. And we do it similarly. We use Google Hangouts on Air as well, and we embed that in our back end, and we use it as a lead generation system and show. So it's better than regular TV, in my opinion, because TV is just one way. We are getting this interaction with chatting, with also we can send out emails to them. People can send emails back to us, that kind of thing. So we're very integrated with the community and the audience. Then also for Women's Speakers Association, if any of you women out there aren't a member and you want to be a thought leader, or you are a thought leader, what a camaraderie place. We do something called WSA TV. And that is where we feature our premium members, our premier members. And they get a spotlight. I interview them, and this goes on YouTube. This goes on the Women's Speakers Association blog. You can see the episodes at wsatv.com. So I produce that show. I manage the onboarding of all these speakers or the experts who you'll be listening to. Most of them have no experience on being on camera on webcam through this. And that's what I excel in, is I love to help people go from 0 to 100 on video. like that because of the technology that's available. I also host an every other week show on Blab, which has come up, and it's called Transform Your Relationships. And I do that with an interpersonal relationship specialist, and I'm a business relationship specialist. So we kind of combine our worlds and talk about how do you use interpersonal relationship skills in business, and how do you use it in your personal life. So we do that on my Coach Laura Blab channel as well. So you can see that scheduled there. So there's like tons of ways you can do it. And I mentioned customer service using video you can serve clients. I use video all the time with clients. Anytime I do a session with a client, I ask them, do you want me to video this?
Beautiful. That's fantastic. I love that. So the comments are flying in here, and I just want to back up, Laura, to your mention of the Women Speaker Association. They're actually one of our sponsors for the Global Influence Summit in San Diego, and I'm a proud member. I joined as a free member when you mentioned them to me, actually, Laura, and I've been watching them on Twitter. My gosh, they have these Twitter chats. I don't even know. What are the tweet ups or Twitter chat?
Tweet chat.
Can't even get the word out. And the sharing and the the incredible energy that goes around those just blew me away. I am now a premier member of this organization, and I love what they're doing. They do that, like you said, the blabs and the TV show. And they've really got a fine-tuned system, which I'm sure you played a big role in terms of how the social media is working. And what I most love about it, Laura, is it's so authentic. The communication that's coming out from Women's Speaker Association is so content driven and so authentic. And, I love how we can play with video in different platforms. In terms of what I'm doing for video, and then we're going to go to the chat box here. We've just started using Webinar Jam, which I absolutely love this platform. It runs on Google Hangouts, and it creates those videos that you can also take off YouTube and edit them. So if you want to put your logos in and, put bumpers at the beginning and the end of it, you can do all of that, which I really love. I fell in love with Periscope upon your recommendation when we did our Million Acts of Kindness tour. And I was using Periscope at all the live events, and it was a really good way of me shouting out sponsors. When I speak in San Diego at Global Influence Summit, I'm going to be talking about how we use different platforms like that to really have our sponsors love us, so that they're continuing to say, how else can we play together? And the other way that we're using video is I guess some of the building our brand. So short little informational videos, and that's pretty much what we've been doing. And I see with that statistic you just put up with 74% in 2017, I see where I really need to ramp this up. I'm really excited. This afternoon at noon, actually, I'm going to be interviewed by Alex Mendozian on his platform, on his Hangout. So what I also love about being a guest of people who are exquisite at social media, like Alex, like yourself, Laura, is that we actually learn from you guys, because you've been doing this for so long and you've refined it, and you work with the systems confidently. Now we got lots of comments here. I got to back down to the beginning. Liberty says, I'm just about starting to use Periscope. It's a great way to interact.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, M says using Zoom, Hangout, and created online courses. What's Zoom, Laura?
Zoom is like a webinar platform. It's kind of like a go-to meeting, but it's a little bit set up a little bit differently, but it has the same capabilities. We can record your screen, you can create webinars out of it, and there's different levels of it. It's a very easy, user-friendly platform, and very accessible price-wise as well. So there's a lot of different webinar platforms. There's people have to decide, where to jump in on video. And it all depends on kind of your personality, your brand, and where your market is. Because some people love this Periscope live in the moment, no preparation needed, just go do video. Other people need to really think through and say, oh, I want a show, I wanted to do this, and I don't like Google Hangouts on Air. You can use for a pre-recorded show or a live stream show, which is nice. So we're live now and doing this in person, but this could have been pre-recorded if we really wanted it to be. And that's how most of the regular TV shows are done on TV. But in the internet space, it's either real time or pre-recorded.
Got it. And then we have Liberty, who says, just in the process of creating videos for website. Awesome. And Donna says, just getting started, have posted a few on my blog to drive people to my website.
I want to show another statistic if if we have a minute to do that,
Oh,
because
yes.
this will drive some more conversation. I know it will. So get this, people. Did you know that video can boost your email open rates by 20%? Especially if you
Wow.
put video in the subject.
Really?
Really.
Okay, just a moment while we all write that one down. Wow. Okay, so there's a juicy tip along with all the others from Laura. We've
Mm-hmm.
got Rosemary who says, I'm using video and would love to be able to make quality videos myself, and I'm working on this. Alicia says, working to get videos up on my website. Oh, and Jean, I have to shout Jean out. Jean is a poet who writes a poem a day. She's coming to the Global Influence Summit, and so one of the things I ask people is to share with the world and with one another that are coming to the Global Influence Summit why they're coming, what inspired them to register, what they hope to get out of it, because it's a way of us helping to build a community with everybody who's already registering. And Jean and she put the link up there. Awesome, Jean. She did a video about why she's coming to the Global Influence Summit, and it was one of her poems. She wrote a poem about the GIS. Isn't that amazing?
That's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Jean.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And Rosemary has a question for you, Laura. Rosemary says, how do you put video into an email? I totally agree. It makes the open rate skyrocket.
Okay, so you're not actually putting a video in the email. You're putting a link to the video in the email, but you use an image to do that. So it looks like, so if you were to screenshot, for example, myself or Charmaine, put the little player button on top of it, then you can embed images into an HTML email and send it out with the link and make that image clickable to the video. And ideally, you put that video on your website somewhere, not just on a YouTube, because it's always better to drive traffic back to your website. So it could be a YouTube video, but embed that YouTube video on the on your website. Put the image, a thumbnail image of the video, linked to that place on your website is the bottom line of that. And you can put the words video like in brackets on your subject, because they say that if it has video in it in the subject line, then it's also going to boost up that open rate. And open rates are key because they're falling. And people say email marketing is dead, but it's not dead at all.
Good. One of the things, actually, this will be fun after the webinar. We're working with Thomas Lemagure, who is one of the speakers at the Global Influence Summit, internet marketing genius. And he's been doing some incredible coaching with Teresa and I for us to learn new strategies that we've never heard of. And how do we share our message in just a pure, authentic way? One of the things that Thomas has been helping us create is these beautiful pages. So, for example, after today's class, master class with you, Laura, we have a page that's been created where your video will be inserted into that page, and of course be shared out on social media. So it offers some of the information, a few tips that Laura gave, and then a link to the video, so that people that weren't here today or hadn't heard about today's master class will still be able to get that. So I'm looking forward to being able to share that as an example of what we've been learning through Laura and Thomas about how we can innovatively get the message out there and share the video in a way that's not salesy. It's really content driven.
Yeah, and maybe you can put a thumbnail of the video in the email that goes out.
Yes, there. Woohoo! Okay. Laura's going to be watching me very closely after today to see, and that's how we learn. I love it. Rosemary says, how do you embed the image? I use Google Mail.
You can copy and paste an image into a Gmail.
Yeah.
And can you link that? You need to be using, if you're going to be emailing people as, in bulk, you do not want to use just Google Mail and BCC people. That's kind of against the ICANN spam laws, because you're supposed to have a system that automatically lets them opt out of your email, ideally. So you're using something like a MailChimp or a GetResponse or things like that, because those systems have HTML editors in them. Google doesn't exactly have an HTML editor, though you could put the thumbnail in it and the link underneath. I don't think you can actually link the image. I tried it the other day and it didn't work exactly as I thought. But hey, if the one thing about Google Mail, if you're going to send it just to a couple of people, that's okay. But you can actually, that's the one mail system that you kind of sort of can actually play YouTube videos in. They've kind of set it up because Google is YouTube. So Gmail has that ability. If you put the link to the video in it, it comes as an attachment that's playable right there, which is kind of cool. But
Yes,
that's not the way to do bulk email marketing. You definitely want to use, there's a reason people use those systems, whether it's One Shopping Cart, Infusionsoft, GetResponse, MailChimp, like I said, is because it's a legal system. It has a better delivery rate as well. You don't get pinged as a bad email unless you're getting a lot of people saying you're spamming them, which hopefully you're not, because everybody's opted in.
yes,
So
exactly.
I hope that answers the question.
Well, and the neat thing too is with platforms like Webinar Jam, for example. For those of you that are doing webinars, in Webinar Jam you can actually create. All of you would have got from Webinar Jam actually the reminder for today's webinar or master class with Laura, and then afterwards, usually about 2 hours after the class, there's an email that's set up that. Again, says if you missed the live show or the live class, here's the link to the recording. And many of the systems, for example, with Webinar Jam, you can tailor that email that goes out, and which I love that feature, because then it lets me say, I could include a few tips about what Laura said. Here was 5 takeaways on my to-do list from the conversation with Laura. What are your takeaways? By the way, if you haven't heard the masterclass from Sean Duperrin, Harrison Klein, you can find those links here. And so you can tailor those email messages, and it's coming from a program already where people have opted in. They opted in, and it has a little note right when you sign up for a webinar that you're opting in and may receive information from the webinar host. And so that I always say to people, make sure when you're using platforms, whatever platform, in this case we're talking about Webinar Jam, make sure you really know the features of them, because I was finding, Laura, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, please don't let me be the only one, but when I sign up for these platforms, I was using just the very basics, the very, very basics. And then as you start to go in and watch the tutorials and go on Facebook and participate in groups of, for example, Webinar Jam has a Facebook group where they're all sharing ideas of different features that are existing that I didn't even know about. And it's important to get trained, I think, on all the platforms you're using so that you can leverage all of those features to your benefit.
Yep, and that's why I recommend not jumping into a platform right away, really evaluating what your needs are,
Yes.
and then finding the platform that you're willing to spend the time and how much time it's going to take. And do you need any extra staff to run it? So these tools are wonderful, but they can be rabbit holes.
Yes, I've learned that. And if like for me, technology is not my strong point. And I mean, even today, Laura, it was awesome. We got on to Webinar Jam and Google Hangout, and Google Hangout is your platform of choice. You do a lot on that program. So before we even went live, you offered me a couple of new tips of things that I can actually do differently with Google Hangout, which is fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's so automatic, it's like, did you plug in to hardwire? Did you?
Yeah. Exactly.
You could do really cool things like the lower third here too. For those of you who
That
are wondering, you can do things like that. You can even with that lower third program do it's a PNG, so it's actually a full screen image. So you could actually do a whole presentation if you wanted through lower third type of overlays, or what we call these are Hangout overlays. So right now I'm sharing my screen. I'm flipping back and forth, but I could just be clicking through slides that I've pre-uploaded into Google Hangouts on there.
Wow, there's another little learning that goes on Charmaine Hammond's to-do list today. Well, and I think when you're doing a show, like Laura, you do shows all the time, not only for yourself, but for Women's Speaker Association, Social Buzz Club. I think having that lower third is a fantastic idea. And if your presentation is really designed to look like a show, when I look at your screen, that looks like a show.
Right. So I just switched. It's that easy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that easy to do. I just clicked on a little link that's on my screen.
Okay, so guess what we're all doing afterwards? We're going to learn how to do that.
That'll be the extra class. I should probably put together a little handout on how to do that. All right.
Laura, I had a question. I love asking our masterclass speakers about mistakes because lots of us make mistakes, and often we don't even know we're making the mistakes until somebody says there's a mistake. We've heard about a couple from you around kind of how we should be emailing people, making sure that we're choosing the right audience and that we're communicating with them in a way that's going to work with them. Are there any common mistakes that you see as people are trying to build their brand or their influence with social media that we definitely need to avoid?
You know, it's the resistance. If you have any resistance to it, it's going to show through. So I want to bring that. That's the biggest mistake. I wrote the whole book, the Social Media Myths Busted, all about the common mistakes people make and the common assumptions that are mistakes people make. But if you're there and you see it as a gold mine for people, that to me, it leveled the playing field. Social media for the small business owner. You have an unprecedented opportunity that was never present before. We really got into social media because people are communicating in a whole new way now. The paradigm has been flipped. We want two-way conversations with brands. We want to be able to vent and complain, and we want to share and congratulate as well, right? So yes, you know, if you're afraid of the reputation, do not shy away from social media. Do a better job and communicate and turn situations around if you need to. You know, it brings a higher integrity to your business by being there. So that is kind of the biggest thing I would encourage people to think about. And, you know, jump into social media. You know, you can do it slowly or whatever, or if you're already there, change your mental picture of what you're there for and how you want to serve and what you want to see accomplished from this, who you want to engage with, like who are these exciting people, from other influencers to the media to your prospects to your existing clients. They're all there. You want to plan to engage with all of them. So
Beautiful.
it's a big wide world of fun and possibility and growth. Visibility. And don't forget,
Visibility.
you know, and there's so many things you can do with video. I'll just give you a little quick snapshot. Oh, maybe I don't have it in here. Oh, I don't think I have it. But anyway, we've talked about different things you can do with video, whether it's working one-on-one, hosting a webinar, doing a regular live stream show, doing a pre-recorded show, adding value. I wrote my whole book using Google Hangouts on Air.
Wow.
Because I interviewed everybody in my book on a Hangout. So not only was I took so the myths are not only the myths that I'm seeing out there, but the myths that a lot of leaders in business and in social media and in online marketing see out there. So it's not just my word for it, but I took quotes from each of those interviews and I melded them into the book. And now on the socialmediamythsbusted.com site, or smmbook.com, you will see all those interviews are there. They're all embedded in separate blog posts along with the book.
Wow. I just went and put a comment. What a brilliant way to write a book. Wow, that's genius. I've never thought of using video as a way of I think what I'm getting from you today, Laura, is how much you cross what's the word I'm looking for? Cross, where you actually use your content in several different ways, cross-purposing your content.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Now, I know at the Global Influence Summit too, you're going to be talking a little bit about hosting your own show. If there's people watching today that really want to look at hosting a show, what would be a couple of action tips that they would need to do to start getting ready? Because one of the things I've heard you talk about today is really spending some time doing the research, making sure you're on the right platforms, that you even know what your needs are. Where would be a starting point?
Really look at your goals and your time. And first you have to have a foundation. So are you set up well on social media in general? Do you have a nice following? If not, let's get that optimized. Let's fix broken links and make sure bios look good and cover images look good and you're posting value content. Once everything's looking good and you have a website, then I'm going to say it's time you can start looking at bringing in video. I had somebody call me who wanted to do video. They don't even have a website. It's okay, but it's not ideal because they have no way of capturing their audience that they're going to be videoing to. So you want to have thought through, okay, what will be kind of like your goals, and then work backwards to the video from there. And I'm happy to speak to anybody about that who's listening today.
Wonderful.
May I make that offer?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, if you are thinking about video or how to optimize your presence online and bring your brand out more visibly, then feel free to schedule a 30-minute review consult with me. I will talk to you and would be happy to give you some direction on that, tell you where you need to start, because it's hard to say for everyone. Everyone's going to be different. So just that is a link directly to my booking calendar, yescoachlaura.com. So write that down. If you want to take me up, if you're seriously ready to take a look at where you're at right now and make it work for you, make social media work a lot better for you, whether it's video or otherwise. I'm not just a video. I'm not going to tell you to jump right into video if it's not the right thing. We'll tell you, we'll evaluate it and tell you exactly where you should be, because there's just some little tweaks sometimes that you can make and be off and running.
Laura, thank you so much for that generous offer. I know I participate in lots of training, and we often walk away with so many questions because now we're excited. We know what's possible. I mean, what you have shared today has really stretched and expanded my brain around what's possible and how do we get ready for that 2017 slide that you showed. And I really appreciate you making yourself available to people like that to actually help them now take those questions that come up for them after today and figure out a strategy on how to put them into place. And I can't wait to hear what people do between now and the February 18th and 19th Global Influence Summit. I know some of you are going, so online, who of you are going? I know Liberty's going. Jean is saying great information. Thanks, Jean. It was great information from Laura. I agree. M says, you are so awesome, Laura.
Oh, thanks, Em.
Rosemary says, cool. That was to do with a comment we were talking about a few minutes ago. Who's going to the Global Influence Summit in beautiful San Diego? Yay, me! And Laura's going to be one of our key speakers there. This was really a taste, I think, Laura, if that's a fair
absolutely, yeah.
What you're going to be giving us on February 18th and 19th. It's going to be a phenomenal learning event. We have speakers including Harrison Klein, Natalie Ledwell. Some of you participated in the masterclass with Natalie. We have my dear friend and media coach, Dr. Sean DeParent. Isn't that fun to say now? Dr. Sean DeParent.
Awesome, yes.
Who just got nominated. I got to spread some good gossip about her. Nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Is that not amazing?
Wow.
I know. With the work she's doing with Project Forgive, it's incredible. Teresa DeGrowa, whose book Mass Influence just came out, will be teaching us about how to build mass influence, how to work with influencers. We have Jerry Foster, who just did a branding webinar with us last week. Teresa interviewed him. Fantastic information. And what I'm seeing, Laura, here, I'm seeing a really cool pattern emerge as we do more and more of these master classes, that each of you as speakers at this event are giving us that super important piece in that puzzle. So for example, Natalie talks about some of the internet strategies, which fit so well with what you're talking about today in terms of what do we need to have ready to push it out on social media, branding. Jerry talked about branding. So fabulous content here. Rosemary says, Sean is great. I agree with you. Donna says, I'll look into it. I didn't know about it. Well, there you go, Donna. I'm glad that we can share this information. It's going to be a fantastic event, February 18th and 19th. Let me just put some information here up on the screen for you so that you can see. The website you'll want to go to, just while I'm doing that, is actually globalinfluencesummit.com. globalinfluencesummit.com. You can see all 12 of our incredible speakers that we have joining us. The registration right now is $220, which is for 2 days, 2 solid days, and an evening presentation on the Thursday night. It's a Thursday and Friday, and it backs up to the incredible Evolutionary Business Council retreat, which Laura and I talked about. We're members of. I know some of you listening today are members of the EBC, and the retreat is on the Saturday. We have a number of special gifts that are coming with the registration, including ebooks from some of our speakers. We have audio programs from some of our speakers. I'm giving everybody who registers after the event, they'll have a 1-year membership in my Your Book as a Business program, which is a monthly mentoring call and mastermind call with authors and speakers. And of course, you'll be able to take in 2 solid days of powerful learning, which I know is going to absolutely catapult people's businesses in 2016. And we're going to be, after learning what we learned from you today, Laura, about what we need to do to get ready for 2017, we're going to be so ready with the help of all these speakers there.
Yay.
Yay. Well, Laura, if you could, here's what I want to ask you as we start to wind down today. If you could really put out there for us one absolute must-do takeaway, something that we've all got to be doing after today, and I know you probably have about 30 of them that you give us. If there was one or two, what would those takeaways be so that we can really build our brand and business and influence through social media?
Figure out who the other influencers are in your niche and start developing a relationship with them online. Whether it's, and you know, the biggest compliment you can give to someone is a retweet or a reshare or a repin or a regram, whatever it is, that you're giving kudos to someone else and helping them build their visibility. So, you know, that law of reciprocity is probably the biggest thing to do, and that's how I'd suggest doing it.
Beautiful. All of us are going to make sure that we're all connected to you, Laura, on every single site that that you're connected to. And I know, Laura, can you give out your website so people can easily find you on the social platforms?
Yep, it's transformtoday.com, and you can find me on Twitter at Coach Laura, and on Facebook as facebook.com/Coach Laura is my personal. Facebook.com/Coach Laura R is actually my business page if you want to have more access to great content. So yeah, I welcome you guys getting in touch, staying in touch, and hanging out. I even have a free downloadable blueprint, social media marketing blueprint at transformtoday.com. So you're welcome to do that. Or again, you are also invited to the complimentary consult. Just book me for 30 minutes. I have a limited number of these slots open, so I would recommend, if you are interested, go for it sooner than later.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that offer. And again, the website for Global Influence Summit, super easy, globalinfluencesummit.com. I sure hope we're going to see you in San Diego. Thank you for joining this masterclass, all of you, wherever you were calling in from, some from sunny places in the world, some from -8 in the world. We've got some comments here just to take us out today. We've got Liberty saying, fabulous information today, ladies. Thank you. And then, quick comment for you here, Laura. I'm trying to book the 30-minute, and it's only allowing a 50-minute booking.
All right, book for the 15, and I'll know it's 30.
Okay.
You should be able to, you know.
Love that. What a way to solve
you know, that probably means, I take it back, that probably means you're looking at a date that doesn't have more time available, is what I'm guessing. So see if you can find a different date, and if it happens on every single date, like go out a couple of weeks and see if that happens. Because if you're trying this week or next week, it may be a little bit more. Let's see, I'm going to try it myself to see. Yeah, you should be, 15 or 30. Yeah, there, you should be able to, if there's 30 minutes available, you should be able to book it.
Beautiful. So it might just need to go on and find another date.
Yep.
I love that you guys are stepping into action right away. That's perfect. Liberty said that worked. Yay.
Great.
Thank you, she says. Rosemary says, thank you so much. This is wonderful. Laura, again, I want to thank you on behalf of Teresa and I for being part of this masterclass series and for being a speaker at the upcoming Global Influence Summit. I can't wait to continue learning from you. You have helped transform my business in the time that I've known you, and I can't wait to just take in more. Thank you. Thank you.
Go Charmaine, go Charmaine.
And Jean says, thanks so much, Laura and Charmaine. See you in San Diego. And yes, I hope we'll all see you in San Diego. Keep signing up for the master classes. This is your opportunity to meet these incredible speakers that have so much help to offer our businesses and changing our way that we serve our clients. So thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap.
Thank you.